All right. Welcome everybody to the Tuesday afternoon team call with our book club, Reading the Happiness Advantage. I'm super stoked about this book. I fell a little behind, but I just spent the last 45 minutes catching up, just barely. So I blocked out some time so I could get caught up on that. But I want to thank both Laura for hosting one of these team calls over the past couple weeks, and Ashley as well. Like, kids baseball schedule is on full blast right now. Elam sometimes plays 7 games a week. They're like out of town, and then Malik started playing baseballs, and his games are Tuesdays and Thursdays. So fortunately, his game was at 10 a.m. this morning, so we made it work. So, yeah, next week we were just chatting before I hit record on this. Next week is Summit, so we're super excited for those of us that are coming. If you're not coming, watch for updates on the body pages. They'll be putting, product announcements, anything that's coming out on those pages. We'll try to share as much as we can into the team pages as well. We're going to do this team call. I'm going to just tell you guys up front, I hope my mind is clear. Like, I'm doing a 48-hour fast and I'm almost 48 hours in. So like, I want to eat and I feel like going to sleep, but I got my energy levels up to come to this call. But if I stutter somewhere and lose my space, just know that this kid eats like 5 times a day normally, like 3,000-ish calories, and I'm on 0 calories for almost 48 hours. So, and Laura, it's not training for Survivor. I haven't made that commitment yet. I'm just doing it.
I'm like, yes. No, but the Survivor people actually gain a ton of weight to go on that show. So you're going the wrong
I'm
direction.
going in the opposite. I was just practicing to make sure I could still do my workouts and do physical efforts without eating. So cool. Anyhow, the pages today, just so we're on the same page, is 120 through 160 that we're going to talk about. And I'll just share a couple things that I want to pass over to you guys and see what your takeaways were. I took a few big notes in the sides of the pages, not only underlining them. The first one that I want to talk about was under the section called Change Your Counterfact. This is, here's a crucial part. Both the counterfacts are completely hypothetical. Because we actually have the power in any given situation to consciously select a counterfact that makes us feel fortunate rather than helpless. And choosing a positive counterfact besides simply making us feel better sets ourselves up for a whole host of benefits of motivation and performance we now know accompanies a positive mindset. And that was after the story of the bank robber. They did like a test. I can't remember. There's like 50 people or something. They give like this example of like 50 people are in a bank and someone comes in and is robbing the bank and shoots, and one person gets shot in the arm, I think. And they were asking them how they would feel. And there was a certain percentage that were like, I would feel super unfortunate. They even gave examples like, I'm sure there was people that deserved it more than I did. And then, so that was one side. And then the other side was like, I feel extremely fortunate. The person that got shot, I feel extremely fortunate that it hit me in the arm, that it wasn't worse, or that I didn't get shot in the head or whatever it was. So, I love that example because, we get to make that conscious decision every single day about what's happening around us. So it could be anything it could be with our spouse and kids. It could be in our business. There could be things going on, and we could look at, how are we fortunate because of this, or how are we a victim, kind of like that example. So I love that. And then it goes on to say, decades of subsequent study have since shown that explanatory style, how we choose to explain the nature of past events, has a crucial impact on the happiness and future success. People with an optimistic explanatory style interpret adversity as being local and temporary. It's not that bad, it will get better. While those with a pessimistic explanatory style see those events as much more global and permanent. It's bad, it's never going to change. And then I made notes on the side, I think over here. Yep. So I was thinking about this, this whole next page on page 124. Our job as coaches, obviously we recruit clients and help them get results with our meal plans. and our fitness programs and accountability, right? But on the other end, if we want to build this larger big business that gives us freedom, we need to recruit business partners. And obviously those can come from our clients that get great results, or just going out and recruiting people that have an entrepreneur mindset that are looking for ways to earn extra money. And so I did this, I underlined some things and then put optimistic as like the most important thing I want to look for when I'm recruiting a new coach. So, and that tells me in turn that when I'm using my social media and I'm speaking to someone, I need to speak to the optimistic person, not the person that's being a Debbie Downer, let's say, or why are things like this happening to me all the time? I need to recruit optimistic people. Because he gave some examples of MetLife Insurance and salespeople in general. It says there was testing revealed that the agents with a more optimistic style sold 37% more insurance than those with a pessimistic one. And that the most optimistic agents actually sold 88% more than the pessimistic ones. So I listen to that and be like, if you recruit 10 coaches and let's say you have an optimistic one that's selling 88% more than the pessimistic one, how many optimistic ones do we want on our team? Right. And I was like, I want to attract optimistic people. It goes on later and says MetLife decided to completely overhaul, I underline this, overhaul its hiring practices from that day on. And that's where I put my little arrow to optimistic. And when I read that, I kind of made a decision for myself. I'm going to overhaul, in a way, my recruiting style and make sure that I'm recruiting or speaking to the optimistic person, people that are naturally optimistic. That's going to be my, because that's me. I drive my wife nuts sometimes. Like when something bad happens, there's tons of examples. Like one time I knocked the AC unit off the top of the motorhome going to pick a Walmart pickup off. They had like the shade thing, and I knocked the AC unit, ripped the AC unit off. And I'm like, all the optimistic things, like when I got back, I'm like, hey, at least I didn't like damage the Walmart thing. Like the Walmart thing could have came down and hit other cars. I could have had to pay Walmart to fix the thing, but there was literally no scratches. So like my mind has always been like that. When something happens, I think of like, I have that optimistic style. So I need to work on recruiting people like that. That's all I'm going to share, because I'll go forever. So I don't want to take too much time. But who else wants to share something?
Well, in that same vein, I feel like, well, I had an experience this past week and it was almost catastrophic for me. And it just consumed me to the point where I was paralyzed. I couldn't think about anything else. And so on page 125, it says, if the adversity truly is bad, is it as bad as we first thought? This particular method is called decatastrophizing. I think that's how you say it. Take time to show ourselves that while the adversity is real, which it was, it is perhaps not as catastrophic as we had made it out to be. Well, it could have been. I just didn't take no for an answer from some people. And so I worked my way through it and I had the best sleep last night. I slept so good. My whole day just went smoothly yesterday. And I just think sometimes that we make too much out of life's situations. For instance, if a coach or preferred customer decides to leave our team, is it really catastrophic? No. You know, there's other people out there waiting in the wings that will want to join us. So we just have to be strong and know that maybe that's just not our person. They're not the ones that are going to be there to help us build and grow and see the vision that we see. So things aren't as bad as they seem.
Yeah, I love that example. I think we can all relate to that, where we have something come up and it's like, we let it, I don't remember what page it's on, so I'm not going to look for it, but he gives the example of our amygdala, is that what it's called? And like
amygdala,
yeah,
right here.
And all of the, you know, like we're not chased by saber-toothed tigers and stuff before. And it gives an example of emotional hijacking. And I think kind of what you're explaining, Laura's got emotionally hijacked for a minute on some of this stuff.
Not a minute, like 3 days.
emotionally hijacked. And that we can take control of that.
I finally just said, God, I got to give this up to you. This is, if this is something that needs to happen, great. But if it's not, please fix it for me. I have full faith and trust in you. I usually get on my computer in the morning and do my Bible time, my journaling and all of that first thing in the morning, but I've been bunny trailing and getting off track. And he just said, if you just go in and do your quiet time today, I will fix this for you. And voila.
And there you go, fixed.
Thanks, God.
It's amazing how that works when we just slow down and do the things, like just
Yes.
some small steps forward. On page
Yes.
129, it talks about the circle of control. After he was talking about the Zorro circle, how Zorro was trained fighting inside a little circle. It says, however, if we first concentrate our efforts on small manageable goals, we regain the feeling of control so crucial to performance. And I've had to see myself do that so many times, whether it's like Laura was saying, a coach quits, or any number of things could happen. You can feel like things start to get out of control. Like, for example, I had one of my diamond coaches kind of really just stop building and go on to pursue other things. And I had to remind myself, and we've had this discussion, like my mission as a coach is not to recruit someone to drink Shakeology for their entire life, hit Success Club every month for their entire life, and be a coach until the day they die. Like, my mission is to help people spend time, be healthy, fit, and strong, spend more time with their family and their loved ones, and do what they absolutely love to do with their life. And for example, this coach is doing something that they love with their life that just isn't Beachbody right now. And so just to give you an idea, and I think it was 2 weeks ago, Laura, because you're like, how do we help you get that back? I dropped rank in my business from 6-star to 4-star. And it was like overwhelming for a minute, because I'm like trying to push towards 9-star right now, but it went the wrong way. So it felt overwhelming. So I really liked this, because in my brain, it's like, mission, get to 9-star. And then all of a sudden that feels overwhelming because I don't have this person that we can count on anymore. And, just looking at everything, it just felt overwhelming at the first. So I just realized I need to work on small, manageable goals to regain that feeling of control so crucial to performance. So a couple of those small goals, I wrote them on the board back here, are recruit 5 business building coaches a month. I didn't have a specific goal written out. So recruit 5 business building coaches, help 3 new Emerald coaches, help 3 new coaches go to Emerald every month, and develop 1 new diamond every 90 days. And I was like, okay, that's manageable. And then I'll just be patient that I don't have to be at 9-star right now, like my original goal said. So just having that circle of control, something that I can control over, help me regain that focus. And I see that in all kinds of areas. Like, Laura, you gave your example. I went to the cabin with the boys, and our utility trailer collapsed from the snow. So it caved in, and the roof is just like destroyed, and so the roof is gone basically. And it was just like one extra thing, right? I was like, I had to like put tarps on it. Like, it was overwhelming for a minute. And I was like, I got to get this home. And the tire was flat, and I didn't know if the tire would hold air. So I filled it up, and I was like, I got to get this home. And the whole time I'm like worrying, where am I going to park this? There's no room in the back of our cul-de-sac. Like, it was just like, I felt like there was just a lot. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fill the tire, and I'm going to just take it home, and I'll just park it on the street, and we'll figure it out. Well, I parked it that night. I took a picture of it, and I had called like 3 people to get quotes, and all of them were kind of like, it's like $3,000 to replace that roof. And those trailers are like 8,000-ish. And I was like, oh man, now I got to figure out which one to pick, because they couldn't give me an exact price without seeing it. And I was like, I got to drive it over there, get all these quotes. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of like Laura said, I'm just going to just park it here. Me and the kids put a tarp on it. I took a picture of it, and I was like, I'm just going to throw it on Marketplace for the $3,000 less than it would cost to buy one of these brand new. And the next morning, someone came and picked it up and paid me $5,000 for it. And I was like, all that worrying, like I was just worrying at the cabin. I was worrying when I could have been fishing. I was like worrying I was calling trailer places to get repairs. So a lot of times, like, we get emotionally hijacked. Like I was just like emotionally hijacked, like over that whole thing. And I didn't need to be. It was just like, just take a deep breath, enjoy where you're at, and just take some small steps forward. So I know that's a lot of extra, but it's like just a small example of something that happened yesterday.
And the problem with that too is that it doesn't just affect you, it's your energy, and it affects everybody around you.
Yeah.
You know, and Kai and I were kind of bickering at each other, and we never do that. And it's like, oh, you know, it's just yucky. So congratulations.
Yeah. I got rid of it already.
You got rid of goes in your utility trailer, like your yard stuff.
Well, it was our ATVs, like our four-wheelers, but we never use it because I bought it prior to having our cabin, and our four-wheelers just sit in the cabin garage. So it was just at the cabin, like
So
unused.
no big deal.
Yeah.
We literally had a school bus stolen from our property out in Kipahulu, which is out in Hana. You know how remote that is out there. And it's a full length school bus, and it got stolen, and it hadn't worked. We don't know how anybody got it started, but they worked pretty hard to get it started.
Well, you know, you talk about like, you know, stuff that's happened and everything. I'm praying that nothing breaks while I'm gone to San Antonio, because last July when I went to Florida, came home, my refrigerator broke while I was gone. I came home from Florida after Christmas. My hot water tank went out. Can we say some prayers that nothing breaks while I'm gone in San Antonio?
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, it was crazy. I'm like, what else?
Yeah.
No, you just can't go borrowing trouble. You can't think that way.
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say this book teaches us I would put all the energy towards everything is gonna be smooth and awesome as I travel to San Antonio.
But
God is watching over me and my family and my home, and put all of that out into the universe.
And we're gonna be together, Jamie.
Awesome. Anybody else want to share anything that they had takeaways from this book?
Yeah, I'll share. So I was actually looking at the Zorro Circle stuff. I finally just went out and bought a physical copy so I can make notes. But the Zorro Circle kind of tied in with like what you were saying. There's things that happen, and for me, it's like, you know, 1 week my kids are doing some real interesting things, and then, you know, this last weekend my wife rolled her ankle so bad that she doesn't know that she's going to be able to do anything at Summit. And you know, and then we got some other bad family news on Sunday, and it's like sometimes that stuff causes me to kind of freeze up and not know where to go. And so when I'm reading that thing about the Zorro circles, it's like, well, start here, and then once I get that going, then start adding on and adding on. And it's easier for me not to freeze up when I know I can just start with something small or something basic.
Yeah, I love that. Goes back to that was the part about the small manageable goals that you can just something you can focus on. Because I get it. We're all working ourselves on the business activity tracker, but also recruiting coaches or customers and then helping them get involved in using those activities. And it can be overwhelming sometimes for a brand new coach to be like, okay, here's all these team pages, National Wake Up Call, Slay Squad Call, there's a book club. Here's all the packages. Here's the links. You could do share cards, or you could just create a link, and here's a bod group. Like, it can feel all overwhelming. So just the importance of getting them started on some small, basic, the most important things that they can do. You know, let's start and let's work out every day, follow your meal plan, get results, and read personal development and document your journey, maybe, right? Once we master that.
Hey, Jeremy, can she walk? Your wife? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, she can walk, but it's definitely like certain movements
Yeah.
really cause her some pain right now.
I would
She's in
say,
a little brace.
for her, for Summit, there's a lot of walking for Summit. Just be sure she has some super good tennis shoes. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of dressing up. So I wouldn't have her worry about wearing any kind of heels or anything. Make sure you have like an ace wrap so you can bind it. So there's, it's stable. She
Yeah.
can still go to the workouts you all signed up for, but she might just have to stand in the back of the room and watch and be a part of it that way.
Yeah, and that's what her teammates are telling her. They're, 'cause she's like, I don't know if I want to go, and
Oh,
her
she needs to
teammates
go.
her teammates are like, you don't have to be your best self to show up to Summit. Like,
No.
maybe being around all the positivity will
Yeah.
help you feel better. And so
She's on
I'm
a
still-
different team, right?
She is. She's under Christy Kronzer.
Well, that's just too bad for her.
But yeah, so she's we're trying to get her to come. We did just order her actually new shoes too, so like
She'll be fine.
I think so.
Yeah.
we
And
got
that's
like-
a week away. If she like ices it and keeps it elevated right now, and
yeah,
she'll
I
be
think
fine.
she's getting ready to kick me because one of my projects, we work at the same college, one of my projects is holding up her elevator working in her building, so she has to walk upstairs right now. My
Uh-oh.
contractor's moving a little slow, so
Making her train harder before she goes.
yeah.
Make sure she's ready. Cool. Well, we hope she feels good enough to at least walk to everything smoothly,
Yeah, and we're close to everything with where we're staying, so
Awesome. Cool. And you guys all know Jeremy's brand new coach now, right? Awesome. Cool. Anybody else want to share anything today that you might have had to take away?
Well, I think tying into that Zorro circle that he was talking about, that's something that I'm listening to this morning, but it also tied into the Good Life on the Body app, the meditation, Think Space 4. And what he said was, be the ripple, not the wave. And I think we're so focused on being that wave, making that big change. And if we can just make small changes daily, like doing your workout, drinking your shake, personal development. Okay, I'm used to those ripples. Let's add another one. Instead of adding 20 items, that's overwhelming. What's the next item that you could do? Like this week, I started the To Be Mindset. I can't even think of it, but one of their Facebook groups, just listening to their stuff every day. And it was helping with that personal development. It's not 20 hours a day doing stuff. It's just one thing that I can do to keep adding those ripples that will eventually add to making that wave of change.
I love that. Thank you. That's awesome. And Elizabeth was asking me a question in my inbox the other day about like what to put out there, like on your social media to share. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how your question was, Elizabeth, but one of my pieces of advice was, as you're getting started, because you want to be authentic to who you are and where you're at in your journey, but you also want to be this role model and teach and share with other people, the things that we're learning in these books. And I gave her one small thing, kind of like the Zorro circle, was I want you to take something you read in your book or listen in your book, and you don't have to try to reword it and be all fancy and make it pretend like it's something from your mind. Just be like, hey, this morning I was reading with my book club, this concept that was talking about a Zorro circle. And then you could even put a whole quote, of something that you really loved in there. And then just share like, this is how I'm going to apply that to my nutrition goal, or this is how I'm going to apply this to my business. And that's a great way to just, for any of us to get out on social media more and add value, like create those little ripples for people, is just, don't just take the personal development in for yourself, but take it and teach it to other people. Like teach what you're learning to others. And the cool thing about life too, when you're learning something, the best way to really learn it is to teach it to somebody else. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to each grow, is take the personal development we're learning and teach it to somebody else on your social media. Cool. Anybody else want to share?
I didn't finish this whole reading this week. In fact, I didn't do a lot of it.
That's okay.
Preoccupied. So I thought, oh, should I come to book club because I didn't read it? And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to learn something. And so I'm really glad I came.
Well,
Very positive.
I'm glad you came too. I'll just share some final thoughts, and we don't have to make this go to an hour. I think 30 minutes is great if we knock it out and everybody shares what they want to share, so we can get back to our families. And I'm just glad we're still doing this or making it work during summer with all the kids' activities and stuff. My goal during the summer is to be done by noon, except for Tuesdays to be done by 1 o'clock because of the book club. But there was some stuff on the 20-second rule that I really loved. I'm not going to share any quotes, but just when you set yourself up, like there's ways to set yourself up for success with habits. And this is something I learned from this book a long time ago, but it just happens to be in this section. Just a piece of advice. Like I'm always traveling, whether I'm going to the cabin or going in the RV or going to Summit or going to Salt Lake City. When I get to, let's say I'm staying for 3 days, when I get to, let's say my in-laws house and we're going to Salt Lake, the first thing I do is I unpack my bag, I pull my laptop out and I set it on the little desk and I plug it in and I pull out my personal development book and I set it on the desk right next to it. And just doing that small action helps me follow through for the next 3 days on sitting down, reading my personal development and doing my my business activity tracker. If I just leave it in my back, like I have the intentions to do it, but if I leave my laptop in my backpack and I leave my book in my backpack, it's highly likely that I will skip it, that I'll skip doing it. And so that's what that 20-second rule talks about. If it takes more than 20 seconds to kind of get ready to do the thing that you want to do, sometimes we'll just skip right past it. So same thing applies to working out. Like if you just put your let's say your shorts and your tank top you want to use and your shoes in one folded up pile in the bathroom, you're going to be more likely to work out right when you wake up, when you can walk into the restroom, put that on and go. So I love that section. The same thing applies. I'm going to show you guys something. So I've been working on playing my guitar again, which I played for my whole life. And they used to be in my case in my closet, but look at where it's at right now. It's sitting there right ready to play. So it's from that same concept. And he gives an example about playing the guitar in this section about having it. He like makes a chart where he's going to check off, but just having it out, it's easier, like that 20-second rule, to do it when it's out and in front of you and ready to do. So I love that part as well. So you might, some things you can apply to your business with that, leave your personal development book out right on your nightstand, or print your business activity tracker out and put it somewhere where it's going to be like that you see every single day. So you're like, that's what I need to work on. And you're not sitting down to work and like, what do I do next? Do I post on social media? Do I go to the bod group? Do I go into my inbox? You have your business activity tracker right there in front of you, and you see it like, okay, make a post on social media, initiate 3 to 5 new connections, send out invites, and you can just see that list and start working from that. So cool. Well, I'm glad you guys were here. I was thinking about canceling next week's book club because I'm traveling Tuesday, but I realized I'm traveling at like 7 p.m. So what do you guys think? Do we postpone it and catch up on the reading?
I'm traveling too.
Okay, let's postpone next Tuesday. And then we will do book club the week after when we get back. We'll resume to the next one. Does that sound good?
Sure. Maybe I can actually get caught up if Jamie isn't talking too much to me.
You know we're gonna be up all hours of the night.
I might have to go into the bathroom and shut the door.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll meet after Summit for the next reading of the book club, and I'm excited to see most of you guys there. Elizabeth, hopefully we'll see you there next year. And we'll see you guys on the book club and at Summit. See you guys later.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
Jeremy. I'm so excited to meet you next week.
You too.
Woohoo.